Here's a good illustration of why urban emergency plans have been called fantasy plans by academics and those who study such things. First of all, in most plans, there's a little section called planning assumptions. Now, for those not familiar with the academic and planning jargon, what a planning assumption is a guess. It's a hope against hope. For example, in New Orleans, before Hurricane Katrina and the whole city had to be evacuated, the planning assumption was that 60% of the population would evacuate using private automobiles. Well, guess what? Up to 50% of urbanites in America do not own automobiles. The high is New York City, but there's still double digits in most other of the top 20 cities. So the planning assumption that people who don't drive or don't own a car or don't even know how to drive are going to use an automobile to evacuate, is sketch comedy. It's not urban planning. Secondly, there are a lot of unreliable cars. Not so much anymore, but in my youth, most of us had an old clunker that when it started, it was very good news. When it made the trip, it was very good news. But sometimes there were problems along the way. Another really bad assumption. Then when you have a rainstorm or a snowstorm, cars can just get disabled with the moisture and the electrical system doesn't work and so on. So that's a really bad assumption. In Halifax, they actually suggest in the plan that cops and emergency responders are going to force people to get in each other's cars. Can you imagine the liability where you have maybe a jail that is emptied, or maybe just unsavory people who are pushed into a car with other people? Really bad idea. That's why we have to use two words that are rarely mentioned in any urban emergency plan, and that is public transit. We have to figure out how to use public transit for a different purpose, and that is to get out of the jurisdiction. That's multi-purpose public transit. Some thoughts while stuck in traffic.